So today we are going to do another pod review, and it's going to be on this pepper right here, and that is called the Albino Bullnose. So I've done reviews on this, I believe, in the past, but I don't do real good with it because I never placed the plant in the right area of my greenhouse or my yard, and it always stays small like this, and that's partly my fault. I'm sure this plant gets a little bigger than this and probably puts out a heck of a lot more fruit than you see here. But I need to get these peppers off the plant so the plant can start growing, and hopefully I get some more peppers by the end of the year so I can offer you guys seeds on this. So this is what it looks like on a plant. This is an annum, and we got one ready here. This one's not quite so ready, but we're going to take it off anyway. So let's pick this if we can without breaking the plant in half. Somebody's oh, no way, I gotta cut it. Be back. Okay, so I had to go and cut them off with the scissors, and so here they are. And these probably don't have seeds in them because they don't look like they fully sized up. These peppers can basically get twice the size of what you see, and they go to a red color eventually, but they start off like this bone color, and then they turn orange like that, and then they turn red. So we got two small ones. Give you a good look at each one of them. The Albino Bullnose. A lot of people brag about this pepper. It's really a very big seller in certain countries. You can see the bottom is very, it's got like this deep crevice. And so a lot of people like this pepper. They really brag about it. I don't have much luck growing it where I am, and that might be partly my own fault because I tend to let peppers and plants and stuff grow very tight together because I don't have a lot of growing room. And because of that reason, a lot of times my pepper plants don't fully develop. So that might be why I end up with some smaller peppers like this. But this one probably would have got larger, but I had to remove it from the plant because I want the plant to start growing so it gets some growth to it with some flowers and maybe some early pods, so when I bring it in, it can continue to produce those peppers and pods for the winter. Because right now it's roughly right around the 1st of August, and this pepper plant here has got maybe another month before I'm gonna have to consider bringing it in, because up here winters basically start in the end of September, and that's when I usually have to bring everything in. So there it is, and we're gonna go and taste test this one first. So we'll maybe try the other one for you too. Now I know this is a sweet pepper, so I'm not worried about heat, but we'll try to give you an idea of what it tastes like and what it looks like on the inside. So let's give it a go. Alright guys, what's going on? We are going to do a pod review today. Let me get the lighting right here. I'm going to do a pod review on this pepper right here called the Albino Bullnose. Now this is a small one. These can get maybe 3 times the size of what you see here. They can get quite big, and they start off like a bone color, then turn orange, and then eventually I believe they turn red. So that would take a long time too, by the way. If you want these to be red, it's going to take a long time for that to happen. Probably 2 to 3 months. So most people will pick these when they're in their bone stage. They might let them get a little orange so they're a little riper, but compared to where you should be picking them when they're red, you're talking months it takes for these to ripen like that. So maybe in the sun they'll ripen a little quicker, but I've been growing these in my greenhouse to, under a canopy of other plants, and they take literally the entire season with like 3 or 4 peppers to go from the bone color to eventually turning red. So with no further ado, let's give it a go. Let's start off with the fact that this pepper has no heat on it. It is a sweet pepper, so we don't have to cover heat. Now with the flavor, it has a very rich peppery flavor, and it has a little bit of tanginess to it, so it's kind of tangy, the aftertaste, but the pepper flavor itself is very rich, very peppery. It's like a bell pepper, maybe 1.5 times more that bell pepper flavor. Not much sweetness on it, but the peppery flavor is very good and rich. This would go really good with all kinds of cooking, any kinds of meats or anything like that, or anything you'd use green bell pepper for. This would absolutely work with it. So the flavor is good. I definitely will give it that. But there's no heat on it, and the wall thickness is like a standard wall thickness. But I would definitely not say this is the same thing as a bell pepper. I wouldn't say that by far. This has a different flavor to it. It's kind of hard to actually describe some of these flavors because the small nuances in flavor are so small and subtle. It's very hard to grab that flavor and then be able to put it on video and describe it to you. That's why a lot of times I'll do these pepper reviews not having eaten anything else for the day, and I want to give you that first impression taste because that's where I can grab the flavors and describe it the best. Once you eat like a big meal, and it's kind of hard to get into the pepper review to actually describe the flavor. So let me take another small bite. We'll take a bite off the other one. It does have a little bit of sweetness, but very low. Keep in mind the low sweetness is more than likely due to the fact that they're not fully ripened. When they turn red, the starches turn to sugars, and then at that point you're going to really develop a lot of sweetness. These are kind of picked a little on the early side, so they're not going to be as sweet. It'd be very similar type of an effect to picking a green bell pepper. But nonetheless, this does have a slight sweetiness to it. It's very crispy, very crunchy, and it also has a just like a very moist effect to it. It's very moist, and it just got a very nice pepper flavor. Let's try the other one. So I would imagine this is probably the condition that most people like to pick these peppers. Very similar to the way people would be picking bell peppers. Most people don't pick their bell peppers when they turn fully red. A lot of people like the taste of a green bell pepper because the flavors taste more green, and the starches ain't really fully developing and turning sweet. And a lot of times I like my bell peppers green as well, for that very reason, because I want more of a peppery flavor, and I don't really want the sugary flavor taste in certain dishes that I cook. Salads, yeah, you're fine. Cooking sausage or steak or something, you're making potatoes and peppers and with onions and stuff, yeah, you can use the red ones. But a lot of times, I really want that green bell pepper flavor in my cooking for simply the reason that it doesn't have that sweetness. So let's take a bite off of this one. Little thing on the bottom. I'm sure that won't hurt me. It's the little stamen or something in there. So that's all right. Let's give it a bite. Again, there's no heat on it. Now the flavor is much different on this when it's in its bone stage. The flavor is definitely much different. Sorry about that. Not getting you the right light. The flavor was more of a sort of like a vegetable, like a green vegetable of some sort, maybe kohlrabi in the center, but didn't taste like kohlrabi, but it had like a green flavor to it, and no sweetness on it at all. Very crispy, very juicy, very crunchy, very delicious actually, but no sweetness. And it had just has a strange flavor in this stage. It reminds me a lot of I believe it's called paprika ozon pepper. It reminds me a lot of that one. That's a very thick-walled pepper. This is more of a thin wall. Might get a little thicker when the peppers get much larger. Might be the same wall thickness as a standard bell pepper. But the flavor was very interesting on this. So I'm going to take another bite. Got to spit some of the skins out. Skins aren't really thick, and they crunch right up with the thing, but I'm doing video, so I can't fool around with it. I got to get it out of my mouth quick. Again, it has a very interesting flavor. Very neutral in flavor, not very strong in any one particular flavor. No undertones that are off or anything like that. Very neutral flavor. I would imagine once you start cooking with it, other flavors will probably come to the surface. But just the basic flavor from eating it like this is very neutral in flavor. So if you have somebody who don't particularly care very much for that green bell pepper flavor, they're not big fans of it, you might want to try these and put that in a salad, because when they're in their yellow stage, they're not very peppery flavor. They do have like another type of green flavor. There is a slight peppery aftertaste, but it's very neutral in flavor. So you can add that to the salad, kind of get people used to liking peppers, who may not like peppers. And some people on watching this video are probably saying, who doesn't like peppers? You'd be surprised. There's people who really don't like peppers. There's people who don't like tomatoes. There's people who don't like pizza. So, I mean, everybody's different. And it's not that you want to force them to eat it, but they may not like it because they had a bad experience with it. And so you might want to try to get them used to maybe trying something that, you know, might be more mild in flavor. And they might end up liking it, and they might end up wanting to grow that variety for themselves, or purchase this variety if you can. And maybe they'll start to enjoy peppers in their regular cooking. So anyway, that was a quick pod review on the Albino Bullnose. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Take care.